Here's my Corona log for week 46. Details and timestamps are below, and here's the general outline. Saturday, January 23rd, just got back from taking the dog for a walk. It's freaking cold out, like 20 degrees, but windy. But ran into one of my neighbors and was chatting with him. And I noticed as we were talking that we automatically fell into that socially distanced 6 feet or a little bit over as we chatted. And it got me thinking about how we've all got a normal distance that we're comfortable with, kind of a, an area around us that is kind of like, this is my personal space, don't invade it, or else it gets uncomfortable. And it differs kind of culture to culture, but you usually have kind of that same distance. And you know when somebody's not, because if they're a close talker and all of a sudden they're right in your face, you get uncomfortable.
We adore Elaine.
She wants to say hi. She's with her new boyfriend.
What's he like?
He's nice, bit of a close talker.
A what?
You'll see.
Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Aaron.
So how long are you folks in town?
3 more days, and then we're off to Paris.
We're going with the select charter group.
I love France. I was just there last year. In fact, I still have an envelope full of French francs. I'll give them to you. Oh, you must be Kramer. I've heard about you.
Hey, you must be Aaron. I've heard about you.
I remember one time when I was in the service, I had a sergeant that worked for me, and we were out in the field at a firing point, and he started talking to me. He was a close talker. He kept getting closer and closer, and I would back up, and he'd get closer and closer, and I would back up. Next thing you knew, I'd backed up like 150 meters because, let's say the distance that I'm comfortable with is 3 feet. His distance was 2.5 feet, so he'd move 6 inches. I'd back up 6 inches. But it has me wondering, I wonder if whatever that distance is that we're all comfortable with, as Americans or as a culture, is going to change after COVID, because we will have gone through a year and a half, whatever it ends up being, of being 6 feet apart. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there's studies out there and all sorts of stuff that'll come out, but it's got me thinking about it. Sunday, January 24th, freaking cold out there. I had to really bundle up when I took the pup out for a walk, and I'm getting ready to take her for another one. Got a nice chance to catch up with my cousin, actually my cousin's oldest son, who's serving the Air Force, and got a chance to talk music with him, some politics, and just catch up on family stuff. Something else interesting, I'd gone in, and I've mentioned before, I really try and be responsible with my news intake and make sure that I get it from a wide range of sources so that I'm not, spun one way or another with my intake and try and get manipulated, because you're going to have different slants depending on the outlet. Most of them try and be somewhat objective, but you just got to be responsible about it. But I include Fox News, even though I think most of it is garbage. And I looked at it last night, and it's amazing. Here, you look at their feed, and I'll scroll it here to the side. It's all about still like the protests from Black Lives Matter about, lawlessness and nobody's being held accountable. It's just the spin on the world from the right wing that it's just an alternate reality. When you look at everybody else, the BBC, the New York Times, the AP, the Washington Post, CNN, all their titles are about, the transition, coronavirus, fallout from the attempted coup on January 6th. And Fox, who's not even the worst of it. It amazes me that you hear people are leaving Fox because it was critical of President Trump and going to this, OANN, and these other even more right-wing and even less fact-based news sources. It's an issue. It's got to be addressed. I mean, there is a truth out there, and they're just fucking spinning this complete alternate reality that people are living in. I don't know. But the question is who decides what the truth is? There is stuff that's lies, but I don't know. It's a complicated issue, but that's why you need to go out and get multiple sources to say, all right, what's real and what's not. If you're only getting it from one source, it's going to be an issue. I found this chart from AdFonts Media to be a tremendous resource. It uses the x-axis to show the degree of bias within whatever the publication is, and then it uses the y-axis to show how reliable it is as a news source. Kind of, is it the National Enquirer or Entertainment Tonight, or is it the New York Times or the Washington Post? So here's where my news sources fall on this graph. What I try to do is keep everything within that green dashed rectangle at the top there. That means it's basically not biased as well as a reliable source of news. And you should also note that they differentiate between TV, so Fox News TV, CNN TV, versus their website. The websites are actually more reliable. And my one outlier there is the Fox website. And you can't have any discussion about media bias without talking social media. Like everybody, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And it's a great source for connecting with people, for getting information, like if I want to know about the Yankees or the Foo Fighters and what's going on with shows or The Expanse or something like that. But remember, it will cater to your news preference as well. And it won't necessarily give you what you need, it'll give you what you want. You'll end up having chocolate cake for breakfast every morning if you're not careful. So I make sure every morning I listen to NPR, The Economist, etc., and I try and make sure that I go out on my own and read the whole thing. Maybe not the whole paper, but at least get all the headlines from there, as opposed to letting social media cherry pick what it wants to feed me. Because otherwise you end up in an echo chamber and you get radicalized one way or the other. And just like we talked about with the Fox News thing, you'll have a completely skewed and inaccurate view of the world. So I'm not perfect at it, no more than anybody else, but this is what I try and do to be a responsible, informed citizen. Hopefully you found it interesting and helpful. Monday, January 25th, started off the week with a follow-up with my doctor this morning. Numbers look great. I'm down 21 pounds. I've still got a lot to lose, but at least I'm trending in the right direction. It's amazing. Diet and exercise and doing what they tell you, it really does work. So, good way to start the week. Tuesday, January 26th, we're at the vets, waiting for them to call us in. Sammy's got a little growth on her, actually it's about a golf ball size growth on her elbow that they got to take off. They're not too worried about it being cancerous or anything like that, but because it's grown and because of the location, they want to take it off. So we did get a quick walk in this morning, and she got to see her favorite school bus driver who gave her treats, which I remembered she probably was not supposed to eat, but that's how we're going to start the day off, and I will pick her up tonight. All right, well, the good news is everything went fine. The bad news is poor Sammy has the cone on, because I didn't think she could reach it, but I think she can get at her suture. So you're a good girl, Sammy. Wednesday, January 27th. So Sammy's friend Ann, the bus driver, we told her that we would not be out walking because Sammy was having to have surgery. So she stopped by the house, stopped the school bus in front of the house, and brought her treats. She's so spoiled. What a sweet lady. I think this is an improvement. It's a soft inflatable one that attaches to her collar. Thursday, January 28th, just finishing up a kind of a crazy day for work, which is good. It makes the day go by fast, but I'm working. That's good. In the news, Yankees pitcher Masahiro Tanaka is actually finished up a 7-year contract with the Yankees. Yankees weren't going to bring him back, and I'm glad to see that he's actually going back to his original team, the Rakuten, I think that's how you say it, Rakuten Eagles, which is where he started his career in Japan. Now he's going back to them. There's just some nice symmetry there. And I'm glad I'm not going to see him pitch in like a freaking Rays uniform or with the Padres or something like that. Just something about that he spent all his time in MLB in pinstripes, and he'll spend his career with 2 teams, which is really kind of cool. The one in Japan and then with the Yankees. So good luck to him. He was a great pitcher for the Yankees. This is the part where I talk about music. Far away. So I've continued to do my Wednesday night whiskey and vinyl and putting it out on Zoom. And every week, maybe one or two people join. Every week, I'm also mostly sitting there by myself where I'm like, I'm not going to fucking keep doing this. This is stupid. And then somebody will join and it'll be a good time and end up chatting. And this week, my cousin, it's actually I think my first cousin once removed. It's my cousin's oldest son, who's in the Air Force out in Kansas City, joined, and we listened to music, and it was great. Him and a friend of his, and just caught up, and he's been recommending. He's more of a jam band guy, but he's recommended a couple of different songs to me, and then I've done the same. So it's just good conversation, between family, but as well as it's like, oh, here's some different music stuff you might want to check out. And something he recommended is an Australian man called Whoopie Cat, and specifically a song called Amy Rose. Yeah, not bad. Definitely has that kind of bluesy sound to it. And I love the Hold Steady. They're one of my favorite bands. That's actually their poster right there. And they just released a new song called Spices that came out. I love it. Love the freaking bass to begin with. Just that drive-in beat behind it and a bunch of horns behind it. They call it, Craig Finn refers to it as the horn steady, that they've been including that more and more in their later releases. But take a listen to Spices.
On a Saturday night, and in the morning we watched the parade. And all the majorettes had the sun in their eyes. And all the old cars looked fatigued. The cops and the kilts, they had me nervous as hell. But it felt pretty cool when she kissed me. We're at the table and she's yelling out her order. Vanilla vodka and a diet Dr. Pepper. Something wrapped in a black wax paper. We're gonna see where this goes.
Classic Hold Steady, got the storytelling elements and all that. Really looking forward to their album that this is on, Open Door Policy, coming out here, I think in a week or two.
Just give me one fine day of plain sailing weather and I can fuck up anything, anything. It was a wonderful life when we were together, and now I fucked up every little goddamn thing. Emily lied to me. This was supposed to be easy. I found the one damn person to help me fall asleep in the night. But sleeping gets tiring, and dark reminds me of dying. And as long as this feeble heart is still beating, you will find me rushing through every room, switching on all the lights. The problem with falling in love in late night bars is that there's always more nights, it's always more bars. The problem with showing your love or your scars is that everybody's lover is covered in scars. So give me one fine day of plain sailing where I can fuck up anything, anything. It was a wonderful life when we were together. Now I fucked up everything's got fractures, and I felt faithless at that moment just before the dawn when everything falls apart. But baby, I didn't mean it for things to get desperate. I let slip my guard, I let go of the rudder. Now we're drifting in the current away from one another. Give me one fine day of plain sailing weather and I can fuck up anything, anything. It was a wonderful life when we were together. Now I fucked up everything. Give me one fine day of plain sailing weather and I can fuck up anything, anything. It was a wonderful life when we were together. Now I fucked up every little goddamn thing, every little goddamn thing, every little goddamn thing, every little goddamn thing. And I've been skirting round the rim of doing something brave, of not just standing but jumping in, of making circles into squares, of laying
Just as an FYI, I've created Spotify playlists for both this week's music as well as all the quarantine vinyl that I've listened to. It's in the description below.
What did Craig get from Amazon?
All right, so some vinyl from the UK here from the Goa Express. They're one of the bands that was in the NME 100 that I reviewed in week 44 and highlighted their song "Be My Friend." So that'll be about a day ago. So very nice. Looks like very DIY, kind of basic. Not in a bad way. Nice 45 there. Give it a listen. Amazon delivering some essential stuff here. Coffee. All right, this is what I think it is. It should be a winter hat because it's a bit chilly and I don't have a hat with ear flaps. I used to have one. I don't know what the hell it is. I'll probably find it now that I got this. But I got a Amazon basically trapper hat. It's the fur line, the face shield. So give this a try because it was like 9 degrees the past couple days, and out walking the dog, this will give me a little bit more protection on my face and my ears. All right, so there we go. Ties up nicely here, and you got the face shield here, and then undo it. I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's all that warm up top though. I can always wear a skull cap underneath it. All right, and now a couple of inexpensive but kind of neat watches. Just what I need is more watches, I know. Let's start with this one. All right, so this is the Timex Waterbury Welton Brown. We saw this on a podcast, and it's a recreation, or at least an homage. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was, we'll say it was inspired by the old Waterbury pocket watches that they actually converted into wristwatches during World War I, especially for soldiers. So that they, it'd free up your hands. You wouldn't be holding onto the watch. You could just throw it right on your wrist. This. There we go. Yeah, and you can see how it's kind of got the crown here is got that old school look like a pocket watch. Yeah, nothing fancy, but I like it. Kind of a brass patina on it. Like I said, you can see where it's kind of got that look like it's made to look like an old pocket watch. There it is on my wrist. I like it. So this is a Joma Shop watch. There you go. And this is an Orient. I'm actually wearing an Orient right now, Pilot's watch. I like their watches. Good, reliable, basic brand. Kind of their standard Orient case here. And this was on sale, and I just had to pull the trigger on it. So similar design to what I've got here with the Pilot's watch, but with the metal band. Let's get this off, get this size down, but they're just good, basic looking watch. Quartz. It's got the similar design to this. You've got the Arabic numerals going around, the larger going around 60 minutes, and then the smaller ones are actually 1 through 12. So a little different than normal. Although, again, the same as this Pilot's watch. This one just on a canvas strap, though. And the main reason for this is got the metal band. Got the Orient logo there at the 12. Date complication at the 3. Just a nice little watch. Nice and thin, brush surface there. Nothing on the crown. Good looking band, nothing fancy. Yeah, it's not solid. It's like a Seiko band with the push link there, but still, wasn't that expensive, and it's a nice addition to the collection. All right, some vinyl arrived today. So what this is, this should be Foo Fighters' Wasting Light, which is a great freaking album. And one of the things I'm running into is that as I've gotten more and more into vinyl, some of my favorite albums I just don't have on vinyl because I either had them on CD or just always listen to them on streaming. So I'm trying to build my collection, not just to include some of the new funky stuff that's out there in Australian and Irish bands, but some of the classics like the Foos and Frank Turner and the whole SETI, some of my favorite bands, to complete my collection there. So great freaking album though. This is, I saw this tour with Morgan actually down at Madison Square Garden in November of, God, I forget what year it was. And Joy Formidable opened up for them along with Social Distortion. And I also saw them over in Jersey at the Izod Center, I think it's called, with my buddy TK. And Chris Novoselic from Nirvana actually joined them on stage as well. So, yeah, it's just a great album.
One of these days, their bombs will drop in silence. Everything, but it's alright. Yeah, it's alright. Said it's alright. Easy for you to say. Your heart has never been broken. Your pride has never been stolen. Not yet, not yet.
Just love that song. One of my favorites by them. Friday, January 29th. Did movie night last night with the boys. Watched the 1993 Paul Newman movie, Nobody's Fool, which is one of my favorite movies. I actually watched that when I was in the service right out of college and just lost my dad. And that movie it's about an upstate New York time. It's fictional, based on Richard Russo, who grew up near here, Boston Spa, I think. But it's just a great story. Really reminds me of my hometown and where I grew up, and it captures that small upstate New York town feel in a good way, kind of like It's a Wonderful Life kind of sense. Finishing up the day for work. It's almost 5. I'm dragging today. I got a bit of a sore throat. I'm kind of tired. I'm like, shit, tell me I didn't get fucking COVID. So I might go get tested on Sunday. We'll see how I feel. I might just need a good night's sleep. But that's it. I hope everybody's safe and well.